Rumspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Steel Magnolias?
Oh my god, yes, I love that movie.
Jonsy, you've seen it, right?
Hey, Tony.
Yeah.
You've seen Dracula, right?
Oh, I love that movie. It's so good.
Lena, you've seen it. What do you think? Filmspringa!
Hey, Brynne, have you seen Weekend at Bernie's?
Oh my god, Weekend at Bernie's saved my life.
Jonesy, you have to have seen it.
Oh my god! No, I haven't. Of course not. You've seen Nightmare on Elm Street. It's the best.
That movie scared the out of me when I was a
You
kid.
did scare the out of you? I have not seen that one, and I will be praying for all of your souls. It's your Filmspringa, Lena.
Haven't seen it.
It's showtime!
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Filmspringa. the podcast about all the movies you loved as a kid and your sheltered friend who never seen him. But this week, we are going to be talking about the 1990 British-American dark fantasy comedy, The Witches.
The bitches.
Yes, I love this film. I'm excited to talk about this one. This one, it's going to be very controversial.
Can you maybe introduce us, Tony?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm assuming everybody knows who you guys are because they've been listening. I am here with...
Hey guys, I'm Brynne. I'm also here.
I'm the sheltered friend, Jonsy.
Did I even introduce myself or did I just start talking?
You didn't even say.
I don't think
no.
so.
I didn't
I'm
introduce-
Tony.
So who are you? Who are any of us really
Who
in
are we?
2020?
Who's
Who
in
are
it
we?
today?
That was
Such
funny.
a great question, Tony. Such a great
It was a
conversation
long work
starting.
day, okay?
Yeah.
It was a long work day. That was funny. But yeah, we're going to talk about The Witches. I'm super excited for this film. I know, Brynne, this is one we've talked about that you really like.
Yeah, this was big for me.
So we're going to get into it. It was 1990. We've been stuck in the 90s for the last couple films.
I
y'all.
was thinking because I think for a lot of people, so many of those critical movies, whether or not you were an adolescent,
Yeah.
90s movies just really stick, man, because they all really went for it.
Yeah.
You don't see that a lot today, for good or for bad. They really they picked a theme and they really just
Really?
rammed it into the
Yeah.
ground, which is why I think it's so impactful.
So this
I'm
one
terrible.
is a children's
it?
film. Is it? We're gonna get into that question, but it's based off of the book by
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl. Yeah, who did
Dahl,
Charlie
yeah.
and Chocolate Factory?
Yes,
And
Charlie
Charlie
and
and
the
the-
James and the Giant
Matilda.
Peach.
Matilda. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he wrote this one, and did you know the original name of the book was War on Witches?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then
Wow.
he had a co-writer of the book, and the co-writer hated the name, and they fought a lot on different things with this particular book that ended up being The Witches. But today we're going to talk about the film, and I think to get everybody in the mood, should we watch the trailer?
Yes, please.
Let's watch the trailer.
It's a good one.
It is. In a minute, whenever our there it goes.
Producer Rob.
From the incredible imagination of Jim Henson and director Nicholas Roeg comes a fascinating new fantasy adventure. The Witches. For when a little boy accidentally stumbles into their secret world, he finds they've got a lot more power than he ever imagined.
Grandma,
I like
it's
your
me,
voice.
Luke. Luke. They turned me into a mouse. Oh, my. Who's the Grand Old Witch?
Join Luke on his remarkable journey.
Bye.
Now, the witches are on his tail,
Whoa.
and he must scurry around their evil plots,
Ow.
squeak past every danger,
Ow. Oh,
finally setting the trap
no. Woof, woof.
that will save the world from the witches.
You're in for a treat.
We must stop them.
I have to say, I love the music, that opening music for this movie. It
It's
puts me in
very
such a mood.
It does. It puts you in the this was like the perfect movie for us to watch at this time, too.
Yeah, because we're
Puts you in
getting into
such a
Halloween.
Halloween.
I know. So, Brynne, tell us briefly what the film's
Yes.
about.
Let me as briefly as I can tell you a little bit about this movie. So it is about a young kid who is staying with his grandmother. He ends up his parents, which is like real quick in the movie, his parents die, and then it's sort of just like, let's move on.
Yeah.
So he's a young orphan, lives with his Norwegian grandmother. I
I
don't
thought
know.
she was German.
She
I don't know.
sounded
Your guess.
German.
Okay, all right.
Maybe.
And his European grandmother. And so his grandmother is constantly telling him stories about witches and how she has a past with witches, and she's trying to, instill in him a fear of women and
Oh.
the different things they do. Or witches specifically. So the grandma gets sick. They end up having to go on vacation by the sea in England, and it just so happens
She
that on
gets
this
sick
vacation,
with diabetes, by the way.
the little kid does say diabetes.
He does.
Diabetes. She got the
Um,
diabetes.
She gets sick with the diabetes. They have to go on a magical seaside vacation for her to get well, but it turns out, you guys, that they are there on the very same time frame as the English Witches Council meeting. The German Angelica Houston-esque Grand High Witch is there, and she's going to plan, okay? She's going to put Formula 86 in chocolate, and they are going to sell some chocolate to all the children of England, and they're going to turn into mice. And what happens is Luke, the little boy, is running around the hotel. He foils or comes upon the witch's plan. They turn him into a mouse. His grandma immediately believes him. Good on her. And then they have to work together to spoil the witch's plans.
Mm-hmm.
How was that?
That was pretty good. I
Yeah.
love your German accent. Was that a German accent or
Bitches book only this magic.
Wait, that was your Angela? What's a Houston accent?
That was my Angelica Houston.
accent.
Y'all
So
in
this
for a
film
treat.
it was done by Jim Henson Studios, and it was
Mhm.
Jim Henson's last film. Not the last one he worked on, but the one he actually worked production and did everything on it. It was his last film, and then before the film came out, had its UK release, I believe he passed away a week before the
I didn't know
UK
that.
release.
That's very
Yeah.
sad.
And so when this film came out, box office wise, it didn't do very well, but the reviews were great. And it has the same thing that happened with Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. When it initially came out in the box office, didn't do good, but it got this cult following over the years. And
Yeah, I
The
mean, I
Witches is
feel
the
like
same way.
it's a little bit of the reason why all of us are sort of spooky,
Yeah.
because we had all of these children's books and children's movies that were actually really like for adults, and they were really spooky
Yeah.
with Jim Henson and all that stuff. So we got the puppetry in this is dark, and the
It's very dark.
storyline is dark. Like they straight up talk about murdering children. Like they say, we want to murder children.
Yeah.
And as a
Literally
person who
murder
watched
children.
this, as a person who watched this last night with her 5-year-old, I
Oh,
really hope that it's not. You guys told me I could. Wait, no, don't sell me out like this on the pod. Don't you guys? I asked Lena and Tony. I said, "Can I watch this with my daughter?" And you guys said yes, unequivocally.
I didn't know you were.
Children's.
I didn't know you were talking about that daughter. I thought maybe it was
Oh.
another
Like in the
older
future, like a
daughter.
fake
No,
daughter?
I don't know.
to be fair, you should not have listened to the person who the whole podcast is about not seeing the movie.
Yeah.
What's done is done.
It's
So
done. But this
Not
film,
on me.
the writer of the book, Roald Dahl, he did not like the film version of this. He was very against the film version. And there were two different endings of the film. So spoiler alert for everybody. So the way the film ends originally is Luke gets turned back into a boy. But in the book, he remains a mouse and never gets turned back. So there were a few different endings written to this film, and Jim Henson picked the one where he turns back into
of
a
course.
kid. Yeah. But
Not everyone
the
has
author,
that
I
sad
know.
German sensibility of wanting things to be depressing all the time.
know.
Like,
Well, his viewpoint
Said
on why
German.
he wanted why Luke stays a mouse is because being a mouse is much easier. He doesn't have to grow up. He doesn't have to deal with
yeah,
being a
my kid the
person.
whole
All
time
of
was like,
that.
it would be great. The
Yeah,
whole
He
they-
doesn't
time
have to
he
go
was
to
like,
school.
this sounds
Big
amazing.
selling point as a kid.
Right?
Constantly saying
Don't
that.
have to go to school. Don't have to do any of that.
But then at the end, Luke says, how long do mice live? And you're like, oh shit, man.
You're
That's
like,
dark.
not long.
Really, like, not long.
Yeah, there was
Everyone's
a-
like, this kid's already like thinking on his own mortality as a
Yeah.
mouse. Very sad.
But this film reminded me. It was like a children's film that it's kind of borderline child's horror film, like Return
Yeah.
to Oz. It had that kind of vibe where you're like, this is creepy.
Yeah.
You've
Lena, have
never
you seen
seen-
Return to Oz? That movie fucked me up
Me
for
too.
a long time.
But I love it. I
The
love
part where she has
that
the
movie.
different heads.
Yeah,
The movie fucked me up for a
Mumba
while.
was her name.
Yeah,
think so,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, Lena, we'll have to watch it for the pod.
Add it to the list.
We are. That's one of. I love that movie. I really do. The Wheelers and TikTok, all of that.
Fruza Bulk.
Rusa Balk, yeah, it was her first
Yeah.
film. The other thing I found interesting with this is, the at the very end, he's in a house, the mouse house. It's like a. Do you know what
Hey.
that is? It's the Ghostbusters firehouse.
What?
Yeah, they took the logo off, and it's the Ghostbusters firehouse that
That's
he's
very
living in as a
cool.
mouse. And when I was doing research for this, I was looking at a documentary, and they were doing. So I didn't know when I first saw it. I was like, did they purposely put the Ghostbusters firehouse as his house and just take the label off, or
You
was
recognized it?
Well, yeah, was it that one of the crew like went out to a toy store and said, "Hey, this will
Just
work,"
got
and
it,
got
yeah.
it? So when
Right.
I was watching a little bit of documentary on this film, they were showing a scene where the head puppeteer for the mouse was explaining the robotics of the mouse, and on the background he had a poster of the Ghostbusters.
So it must have been
Yeah,
intentional.
so it was
That's
like they put it in
rad.
as like an homage to the Ghostbusters because they obviously must have been a fan of the movie. So I thought that was really cool.
That is
I
awesome.
love that.
Yeah, and the actor kid Jason Fisher who played Luke, he was in Hook. He was one of the Lost Boys Ace in
Yes,
Hook.
I remember him.
And he looks a
Yes.
little older in Hook because Hook went into production before Witches came out. Because Witches originally, they were going to come out, it was supposed to come out a lot earlier, but the original studio didn't end up putting it out. So Warner Brothers came in and rescued the film and put it out, I believe, like a year or two after filming. So that's why Hook was filmed. And that's why Jason Fisher looks a lot older in Hook than in Witches. But I thought
Oh,
that
that's
was
really
interesting.
funny, but then Witches came out after. That's really funny. I love
Yeah.
that.
And then for Angelica Houston's characters, you want to take a guess of who was originally supposed to play that part? She was in one of the movies we've just reviewed.
Sharon Stone.
No.
Oh, was it Faye Dunaway?
Nope. Cher.
What?
Yes, because she had just done Witches of Eastwick about a year or two before Witches, so they originally wanted Cher for that part.
I
can
haven't seen
see it.
Witches of
I can
Eastwick
see it.
either.
Brynne, did you hear that? She hasn't seen Witches of Eastwick.
What I told that we've talked about this.
Yeah,
Witches of Eastwick was so seminal in my life that this is so important. This is gonna be
Yeah.
a big episode.
For
It's gonna be
you,
a
Witches
huge
of
I'll
Eastwick.
episode.
explain
Yes.
all about witches a little bit later in
Okay,
this
yes.
episode.
This
So-
is different. These witches are different from the Witches of Eastwick and much more
way
sexual.
different. Yeah.
But okay.
So Eartha Kitt and Sigourney Weaver and Linda Blair were other ones that were supposedly
I would have loved to have seen Eartha Kitt do
right.
this part. I would have
Yes.
loved that.
How crazy would that have been?
It's wild because when you're telling me like initially you're saying somebody else got cast or whatever, and I'm thinking
Yeah.
no one else could play this but Angelica Houston. But then you said Cher, and I was like, yes.
I
And then
could
you're
see
saying Eartha
Cher.
Kitt, and I'm like, yes.
Yes. I could
that's funny.
see them playing it, but Angelica Houston had a really hard time with the makeup. Like she was very scared of getting into the makeup because she had such a horrible experience doing Michael Jackson's what is the thing? Michael Jackson's thing at Disneyland. I just lost it. Captain EO. Yeah, so
Yeah.
she had a horrible experience with the prosthetics and stuff for Captain EO. So for going into Witches, she was not wanting to get in makeup, which took 6 to 8 hours to get in and 6 to 8 hours to get out of every time.
I don't even know what Captain
I can't
EO
believe
is.
that. Oh man,
Oh.
that's
Throwing
another
that out there.
story.
Are you? What are we gonna do?
Sheltered
I know.
friend.
What are we gonna do with
Sheltered
you?
friend is right.
I wonder about our friendship. So
I know.
Often.
Captain EO was such a
I-
big thing for me as
I
a
can't
kid.
believe that that's really her in the makeup.
It is.
Seems unnecessary.
No, it is.
Agreed.
It's her.
I assumed it
I
was
just
a
assumed it was a
fill-in.
stunt person or someone else.
Yes.
She actually
It's her.
got in that makeup.
Yeah.
Why?
That's the kind of actress she is. She said, "All right, let's do it." The other thing
Also,
too is she
Super
was
impressed with her body acting during the scene where she's just full on witch in front of the. Now that I know that was her. I'm impressed.
So the
scenes
director
where-
wanted to keep the main witch have a sex appeal, even as the witch in Angelica
Oh,
did
'cause
that
she's
with the
got
body language
That's
of the
so
witch.
funny.
I thought that
I'm
was so
impressed.
interesting.
I was noting the acting during that, like as she's leaning on the desk.
Right?
Yes, and the
Yes.
hands.
Isn't that
and-
I'm
cool?
impressed.
The hands were actually robotic. They were
That's
puppet.
fun.
Yeah, there was puppeteers moving the
That's
hands
very
for her.
fun.
Yeah.
The parts where she's taking her face off and putting it back on, Angelica Houston is doing so much work. Was so like because she's really making you. She's like
Yeah.
making it seem like she's really put out. I was like, she's so great. This is so fun.
Yeah. I loved her in it. And another fun little fact about the film, she at one point when you know the big monologue she delivers in full makeup at the beginning
Yeah.
as the witch,
Yeah, I
she
do.
was so uncomfortable in the makeup that at one point during the monologue she said that she was just spewing lines because all she wanted to do was cry because of all the latex and the rubber stuff
Oh,
that
my
when she saw the movie
Angelica.
when it came out, she's like, I don't remember doing those lines. Yeah.
Seriously.
Awful,
killed
especially
it.
considering she already had a previously
Bad
bad
Yeah.
experience.
But she never had with the film, she was very proud of the film once it came out and stuff. And then she
She should
played
be.
Morticia afterwards.
Oh my gosh.
She got
I was gonna
cast as
because she's like
Morticia.
such the goth
I
dream.
know. It's so good.
She's a dream as Morticia.
Yeah.
I don't know why Jonsy parents allowed me to watch those movies,
But
but I
not
got
this
to
one.
watch the Addams Family.
So
Yeah.
strange that they let you watch the Addams Family.
It was just an interesting cast because you have Rowan Atkins in it too, who plays Mr.
Mhm.
Bean. And during the filming of Witches, he was filming the first episode of Mr. Bean at the same time.
Really?
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
I guess I never thought about the beginning of Mr. Bean. I
You
just
just-
always assumed it always was.
Right? That's how I was too. I'm like, I guess he's always there. He's always been Mr. Bean. since the
Mr. Bean has
beginning.
always been on BBC reruns.
Right.
Of course.
And another famous British actor, too, Jane Horrick, who plays Bubbles in AbFab, plays in this one. She is Miss Irene, I think her character's name is. And
Miss
then
Irvine? Yeah.
Miss
she's the
Irvine. There you
best.
go. Yeah. And Brenda Blethyn, is that how you say her last name, Brenda?
Brenda Blythe?
Blythe? Yeah, she's in it
Yeah.
too. She plays a small
She
part.
plays
Yeah.
Bruno's mom.
It's
Bruno.
interesting, Bruno. So, Bryn, I want to get your take on when you first saw this film, and it was the first time you ever saw it. How old were you, and how did it impact you?
So the first time that I ever saw this movie, like I must have been super, super young. Like I don't remember specifically how old I was. But I remember it having like a huge impact on me
Yeah.
because I was like, witches, Angelica Houston. She wore gloves with rings on top of them for like a full 6 months after I saw this movie. So I must have been in middle school. I wore gloves with rings on top of them.
I
Like,
could see you
you
doing that.
know, like whatever. And I would walk around the neighborhood. And then just like the scenes of her like taking her face off and putting her face back on was like so cool and fun. And I know that this is about child murder. I do not remember this
But-
movie being scary at all. Like I remember it being like super fun, super cool. I remember always looking for ladies with square or practical
Same
shoes,
here.
judging them, being like, she's a witch.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Bruno Jenkins is like how I learned to do my English accent. Bruno Jenkins, the raisins all around this. You got dry roasted peanuts in there.
That's why it sounds
And
familiar.
like
That's
like so
funny.
many lines. Like to this day, my brother and I will call each other sometimes and just
Yeah.
leave messages and we'll go, I don't want cockaliki. I don't like cockaliki. I like Chris. And we just remember thinking that this movie
Oh
was
my
like
god.
so amazing and so fun. And like I was like, I would want to grow up and like be a child murderer maybe. If I had like a
You're
Louis
like, I want to
Vuitton
be a
trunk,
witch.
a Louis Vuitton trunk full of money. Did you
I
see
know.
all of like the Louis Vuitton stuff, like all the cool stuff she had in her bag, like all of it? It was amazing.
I love how the
Convertible
grandma.
dress.
Yes, I was just gonna say where she flips her back for dress up as a cape. Angelica
it.
Houston's character, I love that. But do you love how the grandma has? She's like, "Oh, I brought him to my house in England." So did she have 2 homes or something?
She had 2 homes. Yeah, she was rich too.
She was a rich
Where
old
did the grandma
lady.
get her money?
Also
Who
says-
knows?
I know it doesn't make sense why I wouldn't go back to America where I'm from. And so it's like, wait, you got a home there too?
Right?
I think they had a home. Okay, I don't want to talk about like the various residences of this side-braided woman who may or may not be Icelandic or Swedish or German.
We
She's
don't know.
definitely got a house somewhere where they call her Frau. She's got a house in England that is enough of a property that he can have a front, that Luke can have a front side tree house where his grandma cannot even hear him, not even within, like, that's a big property. And
Yeah.
also someplace in America.
Yeah.
So they're doing okay.
I think this must have been from her witch hunting days, which
Love
we
to
can
see
talk
it.
about later or now.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Well, let's talk about Tony. So
Oh,
for me,
yeah.
this is the movie that was like, I want to be a spooky witch and I want to have Louis Vuitton luggage and maybe murder children or not. I'm okay with it.
So I watched this film much older than as being a child. I think I was in my teen years, probably around 17, 18. I remember watching it when it came on like HBO or some cable channel. That's when I first watched it. And I was already at that time a huge Jim Henson fan with Labyrinth, Dark Crystal,
Yes.
all of it. And storytellers, which Jonsy has actually seen a lot of the storytellers. But I used to
wild
love
to me.
all of that. So when this came out, I was super excited. I loved Angelica Houston. So when I saw it, Addams Family had already been out, so I was already a fan of hers. But this, I remember the first time I saw it, I was just very like, this is so cool, the whole puppetry. And I always thought in my head, because I was a teenager, I'm like, God, if I was a kid when I saw this, I would have been scared to death. Like, this would have scared me. But I remember thinking Angelica Houston's makeup as the witch was just so gross.
So gross. It is gross.
It is. Did you
Like,
know
it's
that all of the some of the women as the witches are actually men in the
Yes.
fight scene?
Yes.
I could see
I
that.
was
Yeah.
like, this is
And
very
it's-
obvious to
and
me.
they're
Not
the crew
hidden.
of the film. That's why they needed
That's-
extras, so they
that's what I
pulled the
thought.
crew and put them in bald
But
caps.
it's just funny because it's like, yeah, that makes sense, I guess, if you're putting them all in wigs and panning far away.
Yeah.
But then at one point they have to take off their wigs, and then you're panning very closely
Close.
to everyone
Yes.
in the audience. You're like, these are
And
That's
those
just
bald
an
caps.
obviously
Dude in a
dudes-
dress.
dudes
Yeah.
from the crew. Dudes
Yeah.
from the crew. I was like, that's
But
exactly
those
what
bald
this is.
caps, some of those bald caps, I was like, oh,
So wrinkled.
wow.
Oh man.
So
Oh,
wrinkled.
They
wow.
don't care.
Yeah.
I've
They
had
spent
to do
all of
the
the time on
bald cap
Angelica
before.
Houston.
Huh?
Yeah, they were like, Angelica Houston, everyone else, who cares?
Yeah.
Everyone else, they were like, step-by-step tutorial. So do it with me, okay?
Yeah.
1.
Two. They didn't have
They all
YouTube.
did it themselves. And they
They
were
did-
like, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. They didn't have a
They
YouTube
don't.
channel they can watch how to do a bald cap back then.
Yeah.
But I remember really loving the film the first time I watched it. And I remember watching it quite a few times after that. Like,
Yes.
I really enjoyed it. I liked the whole just storyteller, just the witches concept and how they made the witches old and gross. Like, I thought that was cool and creepy. I did like that the kid that played Luke, like he seemed like a real kid.
He
Like,
seemed
you know
like
what
a
I
real
mean?
kid and that he could not act. Yes.
Yeah, like he was a real kid. And I remember, like you had said, Brynne, like after that, it stays with you, like looking at people's feet to see if their toes are chopped off and so going,
Yes.
they're a witch. But I always had enjoyed this film. And then when I rewatched it now, it was I still really enjoyed it, but I noticed a lot of the little things that could have been tightened up within the film. Maybe as an
Yeah.
adult now watching it, but it's still, I felt it still holds up. And if I had kids, I would totally show them this film. I would totally
I
be
did
like,
show
here.
my. I asked her today because we put up a post for this episode,
Yeah.
and it was, "Is this a children's movie or a horror movie?" And for the first time, I thought, "Oh God, have I done something wrong?" So I asked my 5-year-old, "Did this scare you?" And she goes, "No, it just made me want chocolate." I was like,
That is your daughter.
that's my kid. All right,
Just
cool.
not phased.
I'm
That
just
is
waiting
so
for her to ask
awesome.
me for a pair of gloves
Yeah.
and some crystal rings. And
She
Duncan
is
Houston has
your
that
daughter.
dope
Yeah.
crystal ring. Yeah. So
The
she's
film
so, I feel okay about
still,
it.
even watching it this week, it still brought such a good feeling to me, especially with everything going on. It just made me
know.
happy.
And the style of it.
I know.
and
I
just, like,
liked it. I
the
really enjoyed it.
accents and the style.
Yeah.
Well, and also I gotta say, it's a very female heavy film. And I
Yeah.
know that a lot of the females are like bad, except you've got grandma.
Yeah.
And so,
And
you've
her
got
little
both good
nub.
guy and bad guy in this film. Female heavy, love
Yeah.
it. That's
Yeah.
not
Definitely
usual in
passes
the
the Bechdel
90s.
test for sure.
The what?
The Bechdel test, which is that you have to have 2 women on screen talking
Okay.
about not men.
Not a guy.
Not a guy. Yeah, this film had a lot of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What did you think of the puppetry with the mice?
loved it.
I thought it was kind of.
I remember it. I do not remember it being so intense
Yeah.
and sort of gross. Like with because they're like convulsing
When they transform, right?
when they
Yeah.
transform, and like the shaking, and that I don't remember that part of it because it scared me. Now I was like, oh, and then I
Yeah.
looked over at Flynn. And
I
she was
always
like,
thought it was hilarious when Bruno is changing in Angelica's Houston's body language and she's writhing. I
So
was like,
that-
I
ah!
wrote a note.
That's
Why
kind of
is
awkward.
she gyrating
Yeah.
as he's changed? Like, that was disturbing.
So there
More
is
than
that part
child murder.
where she's bringing him up to the stage
Yeah.
and she's doing this.
Yes.
It's so bizarre.
That bothered
And
me
I'm like,
more
is
than
she
kids getting
supposed
killed.
to be
Yeah.
trying not to throw up, or is she? Because the way that she's like undulating is like
Yeah.
I'm getting turned on. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, I think maybe she's supposed to be disgusted because of like his smell, or I'm not sure, but that I remember thinking, oh, that's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah, I was like,
Good on you.
didn't like
The
that
other thing
part.
I found interesting was that the kids smell like dog shit.
Yeah, yeah.
I just thought it was funny. Dog shit. You
I
smell like dog shit.
droppings. Yeah, fresh dog droppings.
Oh yeah, but how was it watching it now, Brynne? Again, like
It was
new?
fun. I thought it was fun.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty much like I remembered it. Like all the main parts are the same. Like I don't remember being scary. Now as an adult that I watch it, I was like, I could see how this could be scary. Like there are like parts, and they talk about child murder the whole movie. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
they should
child
say like we're
murder.
gonna murder these kids.
was it a warning tale for children? Like,
That's what I was like, what is the message, the tale to tell here?
yeah,
It's also a hard lift off. She goes straight into terrorizing him right before bedtime with all these stories about witches to, hey, your parents died. You're an orphan
Can-
now. And
can-
I was just like, Jesus
I
Christ.
read the book.
Oh,
as-
you did?
as a
Okay.
child,
okay.
and I have no recollection of it. Tip to tail, forgot the whole thing.
the whole book.
So
It was
I
that moving?
cannot tell you. I want to say that there was more
Depth.
exposition in the book that led up to
Yeah.
this. Cannot remember.
I
one
just the
word.
parents just died, and it was just like they're dead. All right, let's move on. It was
Yes,
very
so
quick.
I
It was
found
so
it very
weird.
interesting that the cop would come to like tell you that like your children were dead, and then
Yeah.
they would bring the scarf. So like, yeah, we found a scarf here. You want it back? I was like,
This
that's something
part's
the
not
police do. I
covered in
brought this
blood.
artifact
Yeah.
so you'll believe me.
Just in
Um,
case you had any questions, we have her
yeah, I
scarf.
see. You thought I was lying.
Now, what
Um,
did you think of the kids getting trapped in the paintings?
Oh,
That
that's
was
the best part.
creepier to me than
Really?
any.
I loved it. That's the best part. I think I remember also every time I saw someone in a painting growing up, I was like,
You know what I remember thinking when I first saw it, and this reminded me of it? I was like, I wouldn't mind being stuck in a painting. I don't got to talk to anybody.
No,
That's what I
leave me
thought.
alone.
I was like, I'm okay with that.
You're
Yeah,
also
that was-
an artist, so
True, thank you.
I feel like that might have something to do with
Yeah.
it.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's not bad. I could live like that.
She's got a pretty cool cottage and chickens.
Yeah.
Okay, she got old, so there was
Bees
enough
she
there
can
to
feed.
sustain her. Seems okay.
So,
That was the family.
Jonesy, this was the first time you've ever seen this film ever. So let's get into what did you? Okay, I want you to give us what would young Jonesy back in the day think of this film if you were watching it at that age, and then now adult Jonesy, after everything you've known, you're out of the religion, all of that. What would nowadays Jonesy think? So give us both
Also-
opinions.
Yeah, also want to know what Mama and Papa Jonesy would
Yes.
say.
So I'll
Right.
start with that actually. Anything occult was a no-go. We didn't
To
even
watch the Addams Family.
That's not a cult. That was a weird family.
I don't understand the rules of your household.
I know you heard.
Go on.
you
I
heard-
don't either.
That's weird. You parents are weird.
So anything occult, like, okay, witches is a very clear, like, occult thing. We also didn't celebrate Halloween growing up. We dressed up for the autumnal festival that
No.
happened at our church.
No.
In fact,
And
my
that's not
mom
culty?
had a problem one year in 6th grade when I wanted to go as a jack-o'-lantern with my best friend in 6th grade, a jack-o'-lantern, because it was referencing Halloween. And my mom had a problem with that, even though I was going to an autumnal festival.
As a pumpkin, she had a.
I don't know. I
No,
don't
not a
understand any
pumpkin,
of
as a
this.
jack-o'-lantern.
So
a,
if the
a pumpkin would have been fine.
so
It's the
because
cutouts.
the pumpkin had a face on it, you
Correct.
weren't allowed to wear it.
Correct.
If the pumpkin has a face, you're a disgrace.
I like that. The pumpkin has a face.
So yeah, anything kind of occult or satany,
Yeah.
which witches, it's
Would
in,
have been.
it, like the witches. That was a simple no-go. That's why I didn't get to see this. I didn't get to read
I
this.
mean, like that I understand. I just think that your parents are playing pretty fast and loose with what's occult and what's not and what's acceptable, but whatever.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's why we have this show.
Yeah.
It's true.
So okay, Jonesy, if you watched this film when you were, let's say, the age of Luke in the film,
Yes.
what would you have thought of the film? Would you have been terrified back then because of what your parents had told you? Or
No,
would
because-
you have found it fascinating?
Here's the thing is they didn't warn us about witches or the occult or any of that stuff. They just basically tried to make it not exist. So I think I would have approached this film in the same way I approached Addams Family and The Labyrinth and Dark Crystal, especially if I had found out as a kid, even Luke's age, that this was a Jim Henson production.
Yeah.
Like I was already
A fan.
aware
Yeah.
of Jim Henson, what he was, what he did. And so I think I would have appreciated this film in the same way I appreciated those films that had a darker leaning, because I wasn't taught to be afraid of the occult. I was just sheltered from knowing the occult existed.
Yeah, would it have scared you?
I think no.
I
I
could
think
see it not scaring you, and I can see you being fascinated by it, and
correct.
probably sneaking books as a young Jonesy to read up on witches because you're like, this may be
Well,
something that interests
I
me.
I actually, oddly enough, I was a very accelerated reader, humble brag,
I don't think
as
that's
a
odd.
kid.
You're really smart. Why is that odd?
Yeah.
It's not whatever, but because of that, I actually outread my parents. So reading was the one area where I got to kind of sneakily rebel because I
Yeah.
read so fast and I read so much. And I also was always at an accelerated reading level. And so I was always reading things that were next level, but I was reading more than my parents, so they couldn't keep up. So
That's a smart move. That's
Yeah.
a smart
I
move.
assumed, yeah. I assumed
She's
you
like,
were
the Bible, I
only,
read it 3 times. You're barely on chapter 3.
yeah.
yeah.
I assumed you were
And then
only allowed
also,
to read
and now
the
I've read all
Bible
of Stephen
Oh, wait.
King's series.
and a chicken soup for the teenage soul. I assumed those were the only books allowed in your household.
Chicken soup.
No. So here's the thing. I wasn't allowed to buy bad books, but I was allowed to go crazy wild with my library card, and I did.
See, that was my mom's downfall with us because we grew up Jehovah's Witness, and we can get any book we want from the library. So
My parents were just like, she's reading okay. So
That's
actually,
fine.
the reason why I didn't get to see this movie was because I was, again, humble brag, at an accelerated reading level when other kids were reading Roald Dahl. I was already reading like a few grades ahead.
Yeah.
So I just skipped Roald Dahl books because I was like, boring. Get me.
You're
So
like, I'm too
I
old for
Not,
this.
though.
What
didn't
was that, Brynne?
They're not boring though.
No, they're very good books.
I
love
was
them.
wrong.
Yeah.
I agree. But
So-
yes, I think I would have loved this movie.
So now, watching it as an adult, what did you think for the first time?
I love this movie.
Yeah?
A plus plus plus.
Yay!
What
Especially
did you really okay? What did you absolutely love about it, and then what did you go maybe needs improvement or hated about the film? Give us both.
maybe
ends.
needs improvement is the intro. I just felt like it was like too
Yes, the exposition is lacking.
well and too much of a heavy place to start. Like it's just like scary nighttime story before bedtime. Parents dead. Okay, go with the movie, and it's like whoa.
Yeah, it's whimsical. Yeah,
So that would be the thing I would, flush out or work out, or didn't like necessarily. What I loved about this movie, I disagree. I loved all the puppetry. I thought it was phenomenal. I was so excited to see like old school Jim Henson.
Right?
And like I kept watching it through this lens of these days they would have done, CGI and all that stuff. And it would not have been the same. Like
Yeah.
I love the animatronic little mice and how like gestury they were. I was eating it up. I was on board.
Yeah. I have
So,
to
yeah.
agree with you on that. Yeah.
My heart, my soft spot in my heart for Jim Henson remains. Yeah.
So this really kind of was a bit of a nostalgic film for you in a way with the Jim Henson
Yes.
bit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
This was one that I felt like could have been a part of my childhood viewing. It fit in with everything else, but I think the title alone made my parents go, nope.
Nope. This ain't
And
coming in our
so-
house. Yeah.
Right. I think otherwise, if it was, I don't know, if they had found a way to do this film without ever saying the word witches,
Yeah, it would be fine.
they're like these evil women over here in this select group.
The women with sensible shoes.
Yes.
They'd be like,
Then
"Sure."
my parents would have been like, yes.
That's what the name of the film should have been, Women with Sensible Shoes.
I'm interested in this too, though, Tony, because did
Yeah.
you do Halloween growing up?
No,
Jehovah's
I
Witness?
didn't celebrate Halloween till I turned, I want to say 21 was my first
Wow.
Halloween.
Wow. I
that
can't believe
late.
you waited that long.
Well, in
I would
high
think
school, I
right at
didn't-
18, you would have been like,
No, I think I wanted to, but I remember because I had told you, Jonesy, growing up Jehovah's Witness, I knew once I hit 18, I was not going to be part of the religion.
right.
But up until then, I was like, play nice because I'm still at home. And once I'm done, I'm done. So when I left the religion, went off to college, all of that, I kind of was still a little hesitant about just going in the deep end with certain
I
things.
understand.
and Halloween was one. Like once I did Halloween, and you know this, Jonesy, about me, I go all out every year, no
Every
holds
year.
bar. Like it is my
Every
thing,
year.
jam. But I was a little shy about it first, and I think that I was more into
I did not know
Christmas
that.
before Halloween for me. Yeah.
But that didn't stop you from like enjoying these
Oh
types of
God, no.
movies.
Oh
Like,
God, no. Yeah, no. I think even from a very young age, like we had talked about it on other films, I would sneak into horror films. I would watch them at friends' house. I would watch them at my grandma's or grandfather's house because I had always had this fascination, like you, Brynne, with that horror sci-fi side. So I
Yeah.
did whatever I could to eat it up as a child. So a lot of the films that maybe Jonesy didn't watch because of the religious aspect, I was like, I'm watching it. I don't give a shit. So
I just love because like so much of like the part of the nostalgia for me, like every Halloween we watch Hocus Pocus. Every
Yes.
Halloween I watch Elvira, Mistress of the
Yes,
Dark.
dark.
Every Halloween I watch Teen Wolf.
I
Like
love Teen Wolf.
so good.
I haven't seen that movie
But
either.
oh my god.
You know which
But
one,
so
Brynne?
much
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
so much of the nostalgia for me is like Halloween.
Yeah.
So it's fun though to see that you are still into it. It's still nostalgic for you, but in a different way because you never celebrated Halloween.
Yeah.
But so much of that nostalgia for me comes with like, okay, it's fall, spooky season, Halloween time, and then that's when this comes in. But it's
Yeah.
very cool to see how different people come to their spookiness.
Mine is more like making up for lost time. It's how I feel with
Yeah.
Halloween and everything. And every Halloween I always watch like you do, Hocus Pocus. Another film I always tend to gravitate towards Halloween, and it's not a scary film, is Teen Witch. Don't ask me why.
Oh my gosh.
But I love that film. It is
We have to do Teen Witch.
Yes.
It is
It is
the best.
It is such a
oh my god,
such
Teen
a
Witch
good
had
movie.
such an
It's
impact
so
on me.
bad, but it's so good.
The actress that is the Teen Witch
Yeah.
is Blake Lively's half sister.
Shut up. Are you
Robin
serious?
Lively. Robin Lively. Yes.
Oh, we gotta do Teen Witch
have
on
to
the
do it.
show. We
Oh
have
wait,
to.
and so sorry. So also, since we're more than halfway through, we should tell everyone our 6 degrees.
Oh yeah, so they can spend the last 15 minutes of the show
yeah. Spend
figuring
the
it
last
out like us.
15 minutes figuring it out. So this week we're gonna do from this movie
Oh, what's his? Let's do Mr. Bean, because that's
Rowan
around.
Atkinson.
Yes.
Rowan Atkinson. Yeah.
And
And then
for a next film, let's not give it away for Jonesy, but who is the actor that you picked from the next film?
I feel like the only recognizable person from it is Chris Sarandon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
I feel
know
like we
who
should
that
do
is.
Chris Sarandon.
Jonesy's,
You'll know
she's
him.
like,
He's Humperdinck.
yeah, Humperdinck. There you go. I was gonna say
I didn't know
Jonesy's
he was in any.
tapping out for this round.
So Mr. Bean to Humperdinck.
Yeah, God,
If we can do it.
Well, while everybody's thinking about that, I have a final question for Jonesy with this film.
Yes.
Would you recommend this to other sheltered kids or adults like yourself? Would you recommend that this is one of the, like we had talked last week, is this going to get a stamp in your Filmspringa
Yes.
passport or no?
Yes, 110%.
Yay!
I
This
love
movie needs
it.
to be seen. I think, yeah, and the thing is, I had seen there were so many like little clips that I was like
Familiar.
familiar,
Yeah.
like the scene where he's up in the tree house and the witch is trying to entice him down with the snake and her eyes flash purple. I was like, I've seen this scene before, and like different other kind of things like that. So I do feel like this is just, even if it wasn't a part of my growing up, this is still a quintessential 90s film. Like Jim Henson, Angelica Houston, like it needs to be seen.
Yeah, and the fact that it's the last film Jim Henson did before he passed away. So
Oh yeah.
I
Heartbreaking.
know. Another fun fact
Making
that
it
I didn't
hit.
bring up. You know the green vapor that they use in the film? Apparently it was oil based.
I'm drinking it now.
Oh, I know. That's right. She was
Ah!
drinking the green juice. It kept getting in Angelica Houston's contacts during the film, and she had to keep getting them rinsed out like after every take.
Oh
Because
no. Oh
yeah,
my gosh,
'cause
that's crazy.
I was like, who's gonna do an oil base? Why would you do an oil base?
yeah, why would you do
vapor
an oil base?
It's so, yeah.
They did a
Making
lot of
movies
crazy things
before
back
the
then.
2000s was deadly work.
Deadly,
You
yeah.
just
Yeah.
did it. It was a gamble. You might get
Yeah.
shot, The Crow. You might
The
get your
Crow.
skin on fire, Wizard of Oz. You might burn your eyeballs. This movie, like, what the
Exactly.
hell?
So it's about that time. Should we pair the film, Brynne, with a
Ooh,
cocktail
yes.
and a food item? What would we pair? You guys pair this film with? Let's
Okay.
start with a cocktail first.
Oh.
What cocktail would you pair it first?
I'm gonna say just like a dry sherry.
Oh,
Just
really?
get
That's
in one of those little
the
cups.
glass. Okay.
Very
just
British.
Sip it very slowly, and drink it. Or
Absinthe.
like a hot toddy.
Absinthe.
Absinthe.
That's
because
what
of
I-
the
yeah,
greeness
absinthe.
of it.
Yes.
Okay, I'm into that.
And you're probably
I
going to
like
see a
the
couple
hot-
witches if you do it. So.
That's true.
Okay, food. What would you
Soup.
pair it in? Food.
Soup.
Soup?
wanna say-
Wait, what kind of soup,
Yeah,
Jonsy?
I want to say kakaliki.
kakaliki. Yeah.
Dude, this movie made me like as I was watching it, I was like, I really want some soup.
Why soup?
I was craving soup
You're
while
just
watching
hungry.
the movie.
I love it.
She's like, a nice tomato soup would be
Soup.
great.
No, I was
Well, because they have
like
the
a
crisp.
cheddar
I
broccoli.
don't like kokaliki. I don't like kokaliki. I
Kokaliki.
like crisp. Yeah,
Crisp.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what is it? The sandwiches with the margarine.
Cucumber sandwiches.
Cucumber
Oh,
sandwiches.
yeah, cucumber sandwiches.
There you go. That's it.
Fish
I would
cakes.
say absinthe and cucumber sandwiches would be my pick. What would yours,
Okay.
Brynne, be?
Yeah, I
Sherry?
would say a dry sherry, and I would probably also go with soup.
I just find it so weird that you posted freaking soup out of it.
Yep.
Yeah, I watched Witches and it made me want soup.
I want
Good with
soup.
soup.
I would like some soup, maybe some split pea, maybe a
Yeah.
chicken noodle, maybe an Italian wedding. I don't know.
Another
I want
question
some
for the
soup.
two of you. Would you want to be one of the witches in this movie?
Oh my
Like in
God,
real
yes.
life? And
100%.
if you had to get transferred into or transformed into an animal by a witch, which animal would you want to be transformed into?
A penguin.
I knew you were gonna say that. I knew you were gonna say that. You and your freaking penguin obsession.
I love penguins. They're weird like me. They're awkward. They fall over a lot like me.
you. And I have the
you.
videos
Yeah.
and the pictures to prove it.
I love that.
And they don't have to worry about their attire, which is not
No.
like me.
They're always in a little tuxedo. You're right. They're
Yeah.
always.
And they
little
are
rat.
one of the species that believes in same love and adoption.
There are so many
Aw.
stories now that I'm thinking where I have been walking with Lena somewhere and I'm literally walking and she may be a step behind me and I look back and she's on the floor. There have been
she's
those,
just on the
and I'm
floor.
like, how the hell did you fall over? We were literally just walking from the car. There's nothing you could have tripped on.
Lena Falls was a hashtag when I was active in the San Diego theater
Oh,
community.
God. Yes.
This is amazing.
Yeah, there was
Yeah.
one time she fell and her whole dress went up and she was wearing like blue bloomers or some kind of underwear. And I remember.
Bloomers.
Yeah, and then she got up, and I have a picture of this, and she kept walking, and her dress was tucked into her pants, and she was like, "Stop taking pictures!" But it was so funny. I remember
That was in
laughing.
Coronado.
Coronado, it was. You remember?
Oh my gosh.
I was like,
And
all
also-
this Coronado knows what kind of panties she's wearing.
Because I fall over a lot when I wear dresses or skirts, I wear bloomers.
Yeah,
You are like my
Coverage.
5-year-old.
Yes, I'm like a child.
yeah.
I love it.
What about you, Brynne? What kind of animal?
I'd be a turtle.
A turtle. Okay, that's interesting.
Why?
So they live for a really long time. They're like super cool. They're just doing their thing. Also, they're like hard shell outside, but a nice little soft little inside.
Like you.
But then you got to hang out with Mitch McConnell, and that doesn't sound cool.
And if no, he's not a turtle. He's a turd. And
I would beg to differ.
I know.
He and then if anything bad happens, they just go to their home. They're already in their home.
True.
That's just go home.
What about you, Tony?
I would do a cat. I'd want a cat because cats are
Liebchen?
fickle. Huh?
Liebchen?
Liebchen? Yes, Liebchen the cat. Because they'll let you know when they want attention.
That's true.
That's you.
Yeah. Thank you.
I like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's do 6 degrees. Did you figure it out? I haven't even thought about it, so I'm kind of throwing this to Brynne because you're the expert.
I haven't thought about it either. Oh man.
Shit. We're screwed.
Okay, so let's start out with Rowan Atkinson. So the easiest one to do is that he was in Love Actually,
which had everybody and their mother in
every
that.
single person in the world was in that. And
I'm
then we
cheating.
go
I'm looking at my computer.
Chris Sarandon. Chris Sarandon was in The Princess Bride.
Only thing he's ever in.
He's Humperdinck. So we could
Humperdinck.
do Billy Crystal to anyone in Love Actually, Carrie Elways to anyone in Love Actually, Robin Wright Penn.
God. I don't know if I'm going to get this. I'm so bad at this.
We have to go.
Oh, shit. Are we going to be able to do this week?
I don't know. It's definitely easy because anyone in Love Actually you can do.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. So Rowan Atkinson was in Love Actually with like Keira Knightley. Keira Knightley was in how many movies has Keira?
She's been in quite a few.
Keira Knightley was in.
Come on, Brynne, you can do it.
Keira Knightley was in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yes.
With Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp.
You're almost there.
Was in because Johnny Depp been in a movie with Robert De Niro?
Oh God, good question. No. Producer Rob's looking at us like, wrap it up, bitches.
Oh God. Okay.
We might not get one this week,
I
guys.
know.
This would be the perfect time for you to hit us up
and let us know.
And let us know what you came up with.
Yes, put it in the comments below on this video on YouTube, or DM us at Filmspringa on Instagram, or send us an email, filmspringa@gmail.com. Let us know if you guys can get to the 6 degrees with these two actors that we named, which is I just forgot the actors. I'm so
Rowan Atkinson
and Humperdinck
and Chris.
That's all I know.
And Chris Sarandon.
Sarandon. Sorry, God dang it.
Yeah,
brother of Susan Sarandon. I don't know.
Is he?
No,
they were married for a hot.
I don't know.
They were married for a hot sec.
Oh, they were.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
let us know. Put them in the comments below and all of that good stuff. But now it is time to let Jonsy know about our next movie.
Oh wait, we need to do our grades.
Oh, that's right. Thank you. Our grades. Yes. I know. I'm looking at the time going, let's go. Okay, let's go to grades really quick.
An A.
Huh? Go ahead, Brynne.
Tony and I both gave them an A last time. We're going to take off our nostalgia goggles. And I'm going to give it an A again.
You are? Okay.
I really liked it. I enjoyed passing it on to my daughter, even though maybe I did harm in the long term. It was fun to watch it with her, especially during this season. And it was cool. What about you, Tony?
I am giving it a B for bald caps.
Oh,
because it really bugged the shit out of me.
Right.
How wrinkled those fucking bald caps were, which I didn't remember the first time around. What about you, Jonesy? What is your grade? A++.
This one's on the passport.
I love that.
People need to see it, especially if you didn't get to see this growing up. You need to see this.
I like that.
Love
Yay.
that.
So it did pretty good. I was the only one who lowered the grade. I'm waiting
Boo.
for that film, Brynne, where we gave it A or B, and then we rewatch and we're like,
This is
C.
terrible.
What were
Waiting.
we thinking?
I am waiting for
I'm
that.
waiting.
Yay.
I'm waiting. Okay, so
know.
now is the time to talk about the film after that we're gonna watch next. So
I
we're
have
gonna,
to say real quick
Yes.
before we go on, I want to see the prequel of this movie with the grandma and Angelica.
Yes,
Houston.
yes,
Yes.
you're
Okay,
right.
now
You're
we
right.
can move on.
That was another thing we forgot to bring up. There was a remake in the works with
wanna see the
Anne
sequel.
Hathaway, and we're putting up on the screen right now the poster for it. There was an actual movie poster
Oh.
for it.
There was
It
a
looks
poster
really,
for it?
yeah,
What
that we
happened to
found
it?
online. I don't know, but we found it, and people are looking at the screen right now. But it's been in the works for a while. It was supposed to be released, I think, last year or this year, but there's still no release date for it. So I'm curious if that's ever gonna actually happen. The remake of which is coming up, but we'll see. But now
I got it. Wait.
What?
Okay, wait.
You figured it out. The 6
Rowan
degrees?
Atkinson was in Love actually with Keira Knightley. Keira Knightley was in what was that movie? The Imitation Game with Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh,
Benedict
yeah.
Cumberbatch was in the Marvel movies with Gal Gadot. Gal Gadot was in
Nope.
Wonder
No.
That's
Woman.
DC and Marvel, two totally
different.
different things. They weren't in the same movies.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Fuck yeah, that's wrong. Then.
yeah, wrong
Sorry.
one.
We were so close though,
So
because
close.
everyone was in Ending Game or in whatever.
Endgame.
Endgame.
Yeah, so close.
I just need to get it to
Brynne.
Robin Wright Penn.
Somehow. But okay,
All right,
now
I'll figure it
we're
out.
gonna
Yeah,
get to
sorry.
our
Okay,
film.
yeah, sorry, go.
So we're gonna take about a week or two off, and then we're coming back for all of our Halloween movies. And for October, the first Halloween scary movie we're gonna start with is Brynne's pick. Go ahead, let them know what it is, Brynne.
It is Fright Night.
Yes, the original Fright Night, not the
The
remake.
original Fright Night, not
Yes.
the remake.
And so Jonsy is looking at the movie poster right now. She has no idea what it's about. So give us
Her
a
face is
brief
horrified. Yeah.
synopsis of what you think the movie's about based off of the poster and the name. Go ahead.
I think there's a night full of fright.
Okay.
With no light.
Okay, Dr. Seuss. Keep
And
going.
they're on quite a plight.
All right.
And not everyone's all right.
That was perfect.
Very
Yay.
good.
That was funny. I love that. I don't know if you're close or not. Maybe a little. I don't think so. But
It was
this is
big
going to be a fun
enough.
one. Yeah. I'm excited for this because I know this is one of your favorite films, Brynne.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite movies, and it says a lot about my personality.
Yeah, and I think
But,
it's a good
yeah.
kicker for a Halloween month. So
I'm frightened already.
I know.
Oh man, you're in for it.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be
It's
good.
I
gonna
don't know
be
if
a
I
lot of
want to
fun.
learn this much about you, Brynne. No.
I'm also gonna watch this one with my 5-year-old. So
Yeah. Oh God. But you guys, that is going to be it for us today. So you can follow the podcast anywhere you get podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all of that. We're there. So give us a good 5-star rating. It helps us out a lot.
Yes.
Because
Also,
we're dropping soon.
yeah, well, it'll already be dropped by the time people listen to this. So,
that's true,
yeah.
You can watch us live every Thursday, 8 p.m. on YouTube, and we are on Out at TV app now, which you can get
Yay.
on Apple TV, Roku, Fire Stick. You can watch our beautiful faces live every week while we talk about the films. And we will be back in about 2 weeks. I think we're off for 2 weeks because Jonsy is making a big move. She's coming back home to San Diego. So we're really excited about that. But we will see you all later, and thank you for joining us this week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.